It's my perspective. Yeah, from my perspective. It's my perspective. Yeah, yo, am I wrong or is it just you? Or did my life show me some things that gave me my view? And if I went through what you went through, would I be you? I don't know. That's too many questions with no answer, but plenty chances for many lessons. Am I willing to learn that it's all perception? That the picture that I paint ain't the one that you sketching? So can we disagree without drawing a weapon? Long as I can understand that it's just your perspective. Yeah, it's my perspective. Yeah, from my perspective.
Welcome back to another episode of My Perspective Friday. Welcome. Hope you all have had a wonderful week. How's everybody doing this week? How's it going?
Doing
Fabulous.
good.
Yeah.
I'm drinking my water today instead of vodka.
Really now? What caused the change for the weekend?
What do you mean? I'm dehydrating, pre-hydrating.
Prehydrating. Yeah. Make sure you put some food and nourishment along with that hydration too.
Maybe.
Well, I hydrated earlier today.
Okay.
So, happy Easter, y'all.
Happy Easter. Yes.
Happy
Absolutely.
Passover. Hey, Larry, have you hydrated?
Of course, always hydrated.
With what?
What you hydrating with over there for this holiday weekend?
The blood of Christ.
Oh, we ain't going there now. But
Oh, okay. We're gonna figure it out a little later. So today we have a very amazing show. We're gonna discuss the big discussion of pronouns
Oh.
and what people are thinking, how they're using it, and why are they so confused about how, where, and when to use certain ones. So I think this will be a very interesting topic. So if you don't have people that are around, you need to call them, tell them to join in just in case they've been asking you these questions as well. So let's jump right in.
Well, before we jump into use it, I want to talk about the confusion part.
The
'Cause there's a
confusion
couple
part.
different reasons to be confused. One, you may be confused because you just don't know. That's one. And two, you may be confused because you refuse to know. Okay.
Refuse
So
to
it
know.
depends on what category you're in. You just refuse to know, and the ones who just don't know. Second, we have the other part of that where people who are willing to know, they just don't want to be combative while they're asking questions. Like, we want people to ask questions. Don't get upset when they're actually asking the questions. And what I
Right.
mean by that is I've seen instances where you have the indignant people. I don't care what you want to be called. I'm not doing it because I'm doing it the way it's always been, which has never worked in any society. Or you have the people that go, well, what do I call you? What do you mean, what do I call you? You call me, like, wait, I'm trying to learn. Like,
Right.
pump your brakes a little bit,
Right.
you know? So we've got to be willing to learn, and we've also got to be willing to not be combative when someone wants to learn.
So that goes back to a topic we did a while back about stupid questions. So would you call a person who's doing that a stupid question when they're just trying to learn?
No.
Okay. Because they're getting combative for
Not
what
being,
reason? They
if
feel
they're
like
not
that's not a
being,
question they should ask.
well, it'll happen. Listen, I was in the LGBT center, and everybody here knows I'm not heterosexual. I'm pansexual, homosexual, whatever you want to call me. I'm in the LGBT center, and a guy walks in. He looks, and I'm saying it how I'm saying it. He looks like a guy, right? So he walks in, and he said, "Hey, where's the such and such?" And I was like, "Hey, bro, it's over there." He goes, "I'm not a bro." I said, whoa. First of all, pump your brakes. We're both in the LGBT center, by the way.
Yeah,
So I'm
right.
on your side. Let's settle down a little bit. Why are you so combative and angry? It's just a natural thing. So you can tell if somebody is doing it on purpose. Now, once you correct someone and say, "Hey, I go by her," and the person says, "Okay, I'll call you that from now on." And then if the
Right.
person doesn't want to, then that's a different issue.
So do you feel like he was just having a bad day, or if he's dealt with other people that just didn't
I don't
accept
know what his
him?
problem was, but if he didn't tone it down, he was going to have a whole different problem than what he's called.
Because I feel like it's kind of interesting, and I would love to get Miss Lynn's, opinion on that. That you're, like you said, you're both in a LGBTQ center.
Your
So,
favorite
like,
friend is here. He'll be on soon.
Excellent. Love it. You
Love
know,
it.
you're in the center that you're representing each other and supporting each other. Why would he have such a negative reaction to that? Being that, like you said, you're in a place where you're supported and people know what's going on mostly. What do you think
I
about that, Lynn?
I have no idea why people react to what they react to.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is that, and this is not one of those, ooh, one of my favorite people is a black person. You know what I mean? One of my, I don't do that.
Right.
You know, we've
Wait
heard
a minute.
of,
I'm one of Larry's favorite people, and I'm black.
yeah, yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, I have I realize that I've been accepting of anybody for as long as I can be accepting of
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
people for how you are. But I am conscious of the fact, now on Zoom, for example, everybody put self-identifies on Zoom sessions with their name and he, she, they, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. You know, do I need to, does, do we all need to self-identify? Is there
No.
something in that? But more importantly, I have had the opportunity to have brunch with people, folks, friends that are part of the LGBTQ and every other alphabet
IA plus.
community. Okay. And for me, it's not a matter of how you self identify. What I always want to talk to folks about is tell me what that feels like to you. Tell me what that means. Why are you do, especially if it's he, if it's
When you
she,
say feeling, hold on,
they.
let me pause for a second because I'm going to go too far. You said feel. Feel
Well,
is different than what thinking and thought process. And when you say feel about that, what do you really mean?
for example, I had brunch recently with some friends that were heterosexual, homosexual, um, and they're like, one guy had a son that was there, and his son that particular day was identifying more as a female
Mm-hmm.
versus a male on that particular day.
Okay.
And then when he stood up, for whatever reasons, the way we associate colors you wear with femininity or masculinity or
Are we still doing
whatever,
that? We still doing that, Larry? Associating colors with femininity and masculinity, you think? Larry, can you hear me?
Oh, I was thinking
Larry,
of.
when Lynn talks, Larry's like, she's so beautiful. He just gets stuck.
I
No,
didn't know we still did that, so I was interesting to
I was
know.
act- no, I was actually thinking about a comment that Lynn made that I was going to comment on myself.
Yeah, go ahead before you forget.
Well, yeah, because that does happen.
Yes.
Tequila.
No, did I hear you say that the son that was there at this brunch on this particular day identified as female?
as we were having conversations, right, he acknowledged that that day, for example, he was feeling more feminine. And
Wait,
when he stood up and I looked at how he was dressed, then and maybe it was just me, because as a male, he was wearing like pink leggings, a pink top,
wait, I have a
and
question.
yes,
I think my confusion is coming where Larry is. You're saying on that day he said it. Because when you say on this particular day, it sounds like on this
He
particular
identifies
day he identifies
certain
as
days he
girl.
identifies
Well,
as
on the
something
next
different.
day he's gonna be a guy. And then on the next day, so when you say
That's
in this particular day, I think that's where I got stuck too, Larry. You're just
no.
saying that's the day that he said, hey, I identify as
I mean, I know
female.
that he identifies as both,
Okay.
but he he was able to share with us because we were being having a very open and honest conversation. I did not fully understand that when you self identify, for example, as both, that you are really dealing with two sides of you, the
Yes.
more feminine side
Yeah.
of you, the more masculine side
Yes.
of you. And in this case, I'm not even looking at it from the standpoint of who you have relationships with. I was really thinking about it and very much engaged in wanting to understand when and how you identify. Is it based on certain parts of your personality? Is it based on, in this particular day, it just happened that this young man was saying that on that day he was feeling more of the feminine side
And he just so
of
happened to
him.
have on a more feminine color
And he
that's
was
pinky.
wearing more, and when he stood up I was like, oh, okay. But I was trying to and very much wanting to understand, you know,
Okay. So
when
let's see
you're,
if we can get someone to break that down for us. What's going on, Tony?
hey
Welcome to the
Hi,
program.
what's up?
About
I'm
time
a
to
little
join the
late.
party.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm a little late, but I'm here.
Yeah,
Well, we
so
happy you here.
yeah, so maybe you can help us out because I asked earlier because Lynn said something about colors, and I didn't know that we represented certain colors meaning male, masculine, feminine anymore. I thought we kind of got away
I
from
thought
that.
we did too.
Yeah, I kind of thought that,
Not in
but
the
she was
hood.
saying she was telling us about at a dinner, lunch, brunch that a gentleman who is, I guess, identifies as both. That particular day he wanted to identify as
He
female.
was feeling more
He was
feminine.
feeling more feminine, so she wanted to know how does that work? Is it personality based? What how does it work?
Um, I believe it has a lot to do with personality, being that I am one of those males that use both pronouns. Just being that in the community, um, I'm more of a what you would call a mother figure.
Okay.
Just
Oh,
because
he's
I'm
a
more,
mother, all
He's a
right.
just
oh my
because
gosh.
I'm more nurturing, so a
Hmm.
lot of them will use the she, her pronouns, and it doesn't bother me at all. I'm a type of person, I don't really get into the whole, upset because somebody called me a different pronoun. Is I just correct them and move forward. That's
Right, right.
but it just honestly it depends on what it is that you feel, because I feel like when it comes down to pronouns, the he and she are masculine and feminine. We all have masculine and feminine.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it just depends on what you're representing at that time. I've had women like cisgender women who I have two cisgender women who call me their mother.
Wait a minute,
Hmm.
hold up. What gender women?
Cisgender.
Define that for me.
Cisgender is a woman who is born a woman and has all the parts of let's say more female than woman. Let's use that word,
Okay.
female.
More
So
female than woman?
now I have a different definition for woman, but that's just me.
Okay.
But female, is of course vagina, ovaries, uterus.
All the female
Right.
parts.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
But it's just all in what the energy that you exude. To me, that's what I feel.
So we would be your cisgendered sisters.
Yes,
Okay.
To that day that I'm very masculine and I'm that tomboy standing there, then I'm what?
you're still
Still
whatever
the
you
same?
No,
yeah,
you're a
still
Okay.
lesbian. You're
whatever
a
you want to be.
lesbian.
No, because I don't eat cooch.
Oh my God. So
But
Larry's
you
a
don't
lesbian? Is
necessarily
that what
have
you're
to
telling
eat
me?
it now. You
Larry's a
don't have to
lesbian?
eat it.
Just like
You don't have to
Before
completely
wait,
out.
hold on. Before I get hate in the comments, I'm on your
yes,
side. Calm down.
yes, yes. That was all good fun. Yes. Okay. Well, that was good because
What's
I
wrong
didn't
with
know that term either. So, and I do notice, like Miss Lynn said, that even social media platforms everywhere you see where they have that identifier. Which one do you want to put? And some of them actually make you put something. You can't even skip over it.
Right.
So it's definitely a big thing that's going on right now, and people are having, issues and not
I just
understanding what am I supposed to do besides what I know from elementary school and how they told us what the pronouns are.
I just call
I
people
have
by their
issues too.
name on the Zoom, and only thing I use it for when somebody has him, he, or her is because I'm used to saying this, and I say it to guys and girls. I go, "Hey guys, this is what I want you to do," and it's from sports.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
I could be talk. I've done a class where it's all women. I'm like, guys, this is
guys.
what I
Yeah,
want you to do.
I've
Right.
done that.
It's
Yeah,
just natural. No one gets
right.
upset, but you have every now and then someone gets a little irritated. But
It's like
I
the
normally
proper
just call
pronouns.
their
When they say the
name.
proper nouns, proper pronouns, you just
When I
learn to use
see
them.
the he and him, I know to go. I know to call them like um, when I'm like it's her turn. you know. But if I forget, I just go, it's Larry's turn instead of going, it's his
Right.
turn. So it just helps, but you end up calling them by their name anyway.
Absolutely.
Right.
Definitely in
I
meetings.
actually
Definitely in meetings,
have
I do call by name because
I have
sometimes you can look at a person and assume, like you said, the gentleman at the center. You can look at a person and not really know.
Oh,
So
he
you
tried to
do
jump
not
down my
want
throat.
to. So
Why
you
do
do
we
not want to
Go ahead, Larry.
subconsciously.
why do we have to keep putting titles and things on everything? Who cares?
Right.
exactly.
You
You're
know,
right
I,
about that.
I don't care what you call it. I may not agree with what one person does, whether one or the other. They, I'm sure, don't agree with what I do. But you don't have to put titles on it. I think it's ridiculous. And I
Yeah.
think when you do that, you look at, for lack of a better term, segregation.
Mm,
Everybody's got a title, so you've got to go to your own little group.
But if you
And
think about it, humanity has used titles since it's a normal thing.
yeah.
Titles only get annoying when it's not a title that people want to change to. We all have titles: king, queen, duke. It's all important. Mister,
no,
Mrs.
I'm talking about
No, no, no,
pronouns.
no. I'm not arguing with you, Larry. I'm just pointing out that titles is just a thing that's always been there. We got Miss, we got Mrs., we've got Mister. When you get a doctorate, you want to put doctor in front of your
Right.
name. Like titles has always been this big thing. And well, like you, Larry, if you want to be her and she, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. If that's what, if I, like, for instance, if I just met Larry and I go, hey, dude, he goes, I identify as female, I just go, okay, my bad, ma'am, and keep it moving. I don't
Right.
get mad about it,
Right.
but I
People should.
understand the annoyance of people who are like, okay, I'm getting inundated with this. Because even some of us that are on this side of the fence are like, okay, I grew up learning that they and them was plural, and why is this one person wanting to be called they?
I'm
Right.
glad you
Definitely,
said
definitely
that.
explain that because
I'm glad you
I don't understand that part too when it comes to
Larry, so
plural because I just know what
you're
we've
with me
learned in
on that. Was
school.
like, I was like, what do you mean calling me they?
can I
They is
speak
more
on
than
that?
one person.
Absolutely. Please educate us.
Okay, so
That's
actually
important.
I can't educate you on this because I don't understand it either.
Okay. Well,
So
okay.
the thing I will say is that it for me it kind of confuses me
Yes.
Mhm.
because like Keone said, I'm used to they and them being plural.
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 So when I
Right.
use it for a singular person, I get completely confused. And
Yes.
a lot of times I find myself stumbling over calling you the pronoun that you present. So
Do you
that's
think it's
what
multiple personalities that they're going through? Is it that type
that
of
I
thing,
think
maybe?
that could be I think that could be that. But then from what the people that I've met, I've only met actually sat down and talked to one person that identifies as that,
Hmm.
and I was about to say she, but they they feel as though they don't fit into a male, he or she, so they wanted to find some median in
In
the
the
middle.
middle.
I thought that was
But
non-binary.
see, and see, all that
So it's non-binary, but they still have to have a title, as you stated. Everybody
right,
has to have
and
a
that's
title.
and the thing about it is, even being a part of the LGBTQ elemental G, whatever they call it now, they
Right.
keep
Right.
adding these
Right.
different stuff to it. Like I still, it's a lot of things that I don't understand, and just because I'm a part of the community doesn't mean
Right.
that I necessarily, I'm all for it. It's confusing to me, like,
Right.
and and I hate to sound like a bigot, but it's like, listen, if you present as a he, that's what I'm gonna call you until you correct me. If you
Right.
present as a she, that's what I'm gonna call you until you correct me. And even
Hmm.
then, I'm gonna say, I mean no disrespect, but I'm still learning. So if I call you he or she, then please don't get offended.
What about
It's
biche?
natural.
What about biche? And I'm
Who?
trying to. What about that word in the community?
What the
You
hell
talking
is
about
that?
that word? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't mind it. I use it quite frequently.
Yeah.
What is a
Just
beach?
a biche. I'm trying to
Oh,
be
A
very
beach.
nice
female
on
Oh,
here.
dog.
bitch.
I'm
Beach.
trying to be
Oh,
very nice on here.
oh
Okay,
God, it's
you just need to speak English there. That's all.
Yeah. Because hey,
I
I
just
hear
want.
that one, and
I
I'm like,
just
maybe they
need.
don't know which one to call you, so they just use that.
I Tila, I
Well,
just needed you to reel
well,
it in. I wanted to be sure I knew where you were
I was trying
going.
to be very nice about it, you know.
Right. But so,
well,
Tony,
let
what
me ask you a
pronouns
question.
do you use?
Now, this may just be my ignorance. I don't know. If you have somebody that's, let's say, born a female
Mhm.
and transitions to male, yeah.
Okay.
Transgender male.
Now, yeah. Now that person is now a male. Is that correct? Am I
Yes.
understanding? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Now,
Legally.
now, okay. Now, if you have somebody just the reverse that was born a male,
Transgender
transition to a
female.
female, so that's now a female.
Hmm.
Right.
Now, okay. Now what I'm getting at, probably the wrong way to go about it, but what I'm getting at is you have a male and you have a female. You don't have a need for all of these other names and pronouns and everything else that's thrown at it. You are still male or female. And if you decide one day you want to identify as female or one day you want to identify as male, you are still male or female.
You're not always still male or
Larry,
female.
I'm with you when you right.
You might be a
I'm with you when you
hermaphrodite.
right. For real, Larry, I completely agree with everything that you just said.
Well, thank you. I, every
Well,
once somebody has to agree with me.
well,
Wow.
until you transition over, I understand maybe your birthright was male, but once you transition over, now you're female.
So
That's
what
what
if
I'm saying.
you're what
Well,
if
if
you're
you're in between, is so there's a difference between sex and gender.
yes,
Mhm.
there
Right.
is.
So when you have your sex is what you were assigned with at birth,
Mhm.
unless you have a SRS, which is a
The surgery.
sexual
The
replacement
surgery.
surgery.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's when you're so gender is fluid as they call it now. It's
Mhm.
fluid.
Is
Fluid.
So
Yeah.
that
that's when you
okay?
get the he and or she and they
And
and
or them
them
or
and
they?
Mhm.
yeah, and I identify as a basketball and all types of stuff like that. And
That's
it's
taking a
just
little too far because that's a lot.
I'm telling you, and it's a lot of things that goes on, and people take advantage of a lot of these labels. It's like you have to categorize everything. It's like why can't we just, like Larry said, just make it simple? Why do you have to
One
have
or the other.
all of these categories? And then you're always gonna have one person that's like, well, I don't identify as a male or a female. I identify as a horse. And then it's like,
I've heard that.
what?
That was a fake story. I know which one you're talking about. The politician that said the kids were identifying as cats, and a teacher brought in a litter box. They found out they questioned him. It was a whole to do about nothing. He made it up.
I don't know what you're speaking of right now, but okay.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
missed
what you,
that
but
one.
that's how people are. They take advantage of the titles and
Yeah,
make
these are
new. Because
jokes.
I
Don't let the
remember when
internet
it was
fool
just
you.
LGBT.
Right.
Now it's LGBTQA elemental P and
I
all this other
IA
stuff.
plus.
And it's like,
Well,
every
here's the
every so many years they add another one.
that's two different things. The pronouns have been around forever, just like a lot of other things. It's just things become popularized, and now it's out there and everybody's using it. Thank you, internet. The thing with the LGBTQ, and then you keep adding, is when you have these groups that are so small and they're not big enough to create a group, so they have to be attached. Because if you think about it, we've explained this before. Um, a gay person is a man who identifies as a male.
mm,
He knows he's a male and he's attracted to men. A lesbian is a female who identifies as a female who
It's
likes
attracted to
females. And we know
female.
what a
Right.
bisexual is. When you start getting into transgenders, transsexuals, and all of that, that's a whole different stratosphere from us. But the thing is, it's such a minority, they can't hang just with themselves. They wouldn't get anything done. So what is the only thing that we can put them with? They've got to put them with the LGBT, and that's why those letters keep getting longer.
yeah, and there's so
And
many trans. You got transsexual, transgender,
Mhm.
transvestite. There's so
What's
many
the
different things.
difference? What's clearly the difference?
Do you,
oh, this is
layman's
it.
terms? So layman's okay. Transsexual is a person who changes their sex. That's after they have an
Right. That's
SRS, they'll change their
As
surgery.
they
sex.
Right.
have surgery,
Transgender is a person who has changed
it's
their gender.
transitioning.
If I were to decide to take estrogen hormone and dress and change my gender appearing, that's transgender.
Right.
Transvestite is a person who dresses of the
Dresses.
opposite
Right.
gender for their sexual kicks.
Right.
Hmm.
So is that them or they?
We don't know what they are.
Well, I identify as a whore, if that makes any difference.
No,
That
you
makes sense
don't.
to me. That
Okay.
makes 100% sense to me.
Makes us clear for you. Right. Right.
Mm.
Right. That
You know
makes
what?
us
Good
know
for
where
you.
you are. Right.
Huh?
Good for
Yeah, as
you.
long as you know what you are, right?
Hey, Larry identifies as persistent because he's on number 3.
So let me ask this question.
I've settled down now, so you saw what
So
happened earlier.
so
So
do
yeah.
you feel like
Yeah.
the them and they? What about the ones who have both?
Both.
Hermaphrodite.
Both them and they.
Hermaphrodites. Yeah.
Hermaphrodites usually choose because they usually have one more of the sex
Yeah,
hormone than the other.
they
So they
usually
usually
don't make it to adulthood as both having
right.
both.
They usually make a
Some of them still,
choice.
some of them
No,
do.
no,
That's
I know
why.
they do. I'm
Yeah.
saying
So I wonder how they
usually they don't.
identify. If that's why the they, them. I don't know. Like how that works.
But you know what's funny is most of the ones that are they them are not hermaphrodites.
Hmm. Okay.
Now,
Most
isn't
hermaphrodites want to be normal. They want to be the I'm not gonna say normal. They want to be what's common. Let's say that. So they would want to choose between male or female, you know, boy or girl, man or woman or whatever. They wouldn't want to complicate that and be both because they're gonna get a lot of questions. Like
Hmm.
if somebody say, "Oh, well, why do you call yourself they?" Oh, well, I have both. Oh my God! Then there's a barrage of questions that you don't want to answer.
So it's still like that, even though you have transgenders who dress up like a female, but they have the male anatomy, even with
Right.
the hermaphrodites, if they
Same
had the
thing.
same thing, right?
Mhm.
Except they
Okay.
don't have both organs
Right,
Right.
right. But I'm saying they are
Right.
like identify when you look at them outside and then things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Physically.
Mhm.
until you run into the one that doesn't. That's when it.
Mm,
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's when it
So,
gets tricky.
so my question is this: are you really, when you are self-identifying, are you really saying, "Look, I feel both sides. I feel the masculine. I feel the feminine. I feel the nurturing. I feel the protective." Is that how that works?
Yes. For
Mm.
Well, then,
in a short answer, yes.
Yeah.
But
So
well
before we dive
then,
into that, because that is a good one, because even as heterosexuals, we go through that. You know, you have
right,
days
because
that
I'm
you a little
going
more
to,
masculine, a little more feminine, right? We talked about
right.
that. So
There's
before we
always a
dive into
spectrum.
that, I want to introduce a new segment of the show that we are calling Jeff Cox versus the world. This is such a funny segment, so tune in.
here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Jeff Cox, and I just want to give you a piece of my mind, my 2 cents worth. First of all, I don't mean to be mean. You know what really makes me mad is when you go to the bathroom, you're sitting there, and you look over and there's no damn toilet paper. Now that will piss me off. Yep, just got back from a cruise. I'll never do that again. If they won't let me drive the boat, I ain't going. Forget it. Got seasick. I don't know which one it was, but I was sick. Fuck that. You can call me Karen or Kevin, but you can also kiss my ass. Now back with the show. Who in the hell are you talking to on these cell phones? You act like you're addicted to them. You're constantly texting or talking or playing some lame game. My grandson lives with the damn thing. He sleeps with it. It's ridiculous. And the next thing, I don't give a hoot in hell about what kind of supper you had last night or what you plan on doing today or who you're having sex with. And I'm standing in line at 7-Eleven trying to get my cup of coffee, and I got to hear all that. Keep it to yourself. The last thing I want to tell you is hang up and drive. I see people putting on makeup and reading books, trying to tie their shoes and tie their ties and reaching around and doing everything but paying attention. And especially if you got pimples, you have no coordination and no experience to drive and text at the same time. You're going to fuck somebody up. With that, on with the show.
Was that a public service announcement?
Yeah, it was.
So Jeff is hilarious. Some may not agree with him, but hey, he's hilarious.
He said, "Pimples, you don't need to be driving at all."
He said, "Call me Kevin, call me Karen. I don't give a shit."
I feel like he's related to Larry. Larry's
Hey.
over here sitting like, wait a minute. If you needed an ornery old man, I could have been it. Why'd you get this guy?
Hey.
He's
Could have
making
just
money out
broke
of
into his own song and dance for us.
I like Larry's opinion. I think Larry's
What do you
funny.
say, Larry?
I appreciate that, Tony.
So let's
You know,
dive back
Larry, when
into
you
that question that Lynn had, because
Uh-huh.
masculine and feminine energy comes from both sides. So go ahead and go into that question again, Miss Lynn.
yeah, I mean, so I know I got what I think is probably a masculine side when we get demonstrative, we get strong, we get, you know. And so does that mean that I'm he, she today, depending upon
Whoa,
what?
you just said two different things now. You said he,
He's
she.
trying to
Man, I'm not going to lie.
sure.
When I first met you, I thought you were a lesbian.
Really?
Really?
Mhm.
Wow. Why is that?
I did too.
The haircut.
Ooh.
The haircut.
It's
Seriously? The
it's it's
haircut?
well, I will say it's
No, it
not
was more
just
than
the
that. It
haircut.
was more
It's
than that.
the you have a very strong personality, so you're kind of like, ugh, like kind of in your face, like, hey,
Mhm.
listen to me, I'm talking. Like you demand attention, and a
Mhm.
lot of times, they've told women, you should be stand back
They tell
and
us
be
that, but we don't do
seen,
that.
not heard.
That's
But
different, Sheila. You ghetto. That's different.
I'm not ghetto. Never
I'm
lived in the
playing.
ghetto.
Look, she
No,
about to see.
never, never, ever been there.
I'm freaking out of
Never.
here.
I
But
don't know where
I
that
have been a
is.
tomboy all my life because I've had a lot of masculine energy, and most of the relationships I've been in, people say, well, you wear the pants and all that. So I have a lot of masculine
Oh,
energy
I get it. I,
when
I
it
just
comes
like
to
when I
that.
kick
But
that.
I
I ain't ghetto. But
I
I
like
could
when I kick
go
that
to the
defense
street though.
mechanism in.
I think that I think we all have a duality that once we get to a point where we're comfortable with ourselves, we can respect the duality that we all have masculine and feminine energy. Some have more masculine than feminine. So
Right.
it just all depends,
Yeah.
on the person. There are some women who are very, very masculine but still very heterosexual.
Hmm.
There are some men who come off very feminine and are metrosexuals as they call them, and they're
Right.
very heterosexual. So
Yeah.
it
Call
just
Well,
all depends.
what did we call him?
metrosexual.
Metrosexual.
That was
Metrosexual.
very big in the 2000s. Metrosexual.
I thought metrosexual was
It
just guys who love their grooming abilities.
it
Well,
did.
they have the
Well,
grooming abilities
well,
of a
see,
woman and have
that's
some
what. No,
mannerisms.
see, that's. I'm not disagreeing with your point. That's my annoyance with this whole thing. Because where I'm from, if a guy dresses nice, that's not just it. But if he gets a manicure and a pedicure and takes care of himself, all of a sudden he's a metrosexual. But then you get mad if he's a dirty bum. I'm like, so they throw that metrosexual around so frequently, especially in the early 2000s. It was so annoying because you take care of yourself, you're a
Right.
metrosexual, which makes these, and we've all heard this, because I agree with all of you that we have feminine qualities and masculine qualities.
Right.
But you know what? Some dudes will say, "Ain't no," their stupid response, "Ain't no bitch in me."
Yeah, but a lot of women want to see that feminine side, and that's the problem. It's
Right?
like,
But the
So,
thing is,
so
but a
wait.
lot of a lot of men will equate masculinity to being rugged or
Toxic.
dirty almost. Like
Yeah.
it's like grungy. Like it's if a man is unshaven and kind of look like he's been at work all day,
Got
they think
Timbs
that
and
equates to
jeans on.
masculinity.
Yeah.
But no, no.
mm.
So, Keone, what you're telling me is I don't have a man because I come across as a lesbian.
How often you get approached by women, Miss Lynn?
Oh my
How
God.
many
And
times you
you
get
you
approached
are
by
in
Wait,
women?
wait,
Atlanta.
wait, wait. Lynn just
You're in
realized
Atlanta.
all the ladies that been giving her compliments, she thought they were being nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 'Cause I'm
I
thinking
mean,
now.
Lynn,
Oh,
you're in
Lynn,
the
and this is
she's in
so
the gay
funny.
black capital of the United States right
I
now.
know
Yeah,
Look,
I'm in
yeah.
Havana, right?
look, because now I can admit this. When you went on a trip a while ago and you were like, well, I'm with my girlfriend. I knew you meant female friend, but the reason why I had laughed and you were like, what, Keone? And I said nothing is because I used to think until you told me you had a husband
Oh,
and all
okay.
that. So when you said, I'm with my girlfriend, I was over here like, I bet she is.
Right.
Yeah, because nowadays, and that's a good point, because nowadays you really
I gotta
don't
grow my
know
hair
because
back.
people
Lord
get
have mercy.
married. Like Keone's been married to a woman. Miss Lynn, you've been married. They hear you've been married, my husband, but that doesn't mean that you don't go another route sometimes or all the time and
Hey,
do
Larry
fancy route.
said I go one route. I've had three chances and I picked the same route, so I disagree.
I
That's
mean,
called
well,
being
float your
persistent.
boat, don't sink mine.
That's
So
called what, Larry?
Being persistent, yes.
Oh,
Just like you
to
said
find the
earlier.
right one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But you know what? That's interesting because there is there is that very feminine side of me,
Mhm,
but because I grew up with brothers and I was the only girl,
that's
mhm.
what it
you
is.
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yep.
I have a twin brother. So that basically meant I just did everything everybody did.
Mhm.
I'm very athletic, all of that. So, but yet I'm a dancer,
Yeah.
a
I, I
nurturer,
I
all
think
of that.
some people identify early on because they're also tired of this dumb thing where we keep thinking you can turn someone gay or turn
Mm-hmm.
someone you can't indoctrinate or make someone gay. Either you like it or you don't. And because the dumbest thing I remember when people used to when I was like 26, people used to find out, oh, you're gay. Well, what made you gay? And I used to go, oh my God.
Well, yeah,
Like,
that's still a
I
big
hate
issue
that
because a
question.
lot of
what do you mean?
people.
What made you
You
gay?
know, it was
You
one
even
of those vaccinations you got.
yeah, yeah, right. You
Well,
made
But they
no,
that
I
always have
think
to.
really
But
and
they always
truly,
make
I
an
think
excuse for it, though. It's always like, oh, when my dad wasn't around, I was touched, or I was
yeah,
that
and
around
they use
women.
right.
Like,
that's
no,
that's
I wasn't around any
normal.
of those. My dad was in my life. I was never
Uh,
touched. I've been around men all my life, and I'm
Right.
still just gay as a picnic basket. So,
Right.
I
Now
mean, it doesn't
that
make.
one I hear more of is the one that, oh, when my child was molested or they were touched, as you said, now
Mhm.
they are more
yeah,
leaning towards
that's
that
not
side.
that's
I
and
hear
that's
that more
right.
than anything, and I'm like, what makes you think that?
Right.
100%.
Because the first person to molest me was a woman. It didn't make me straight, and then the next person to molest me was a guy. So you know, there's
You have some people that think if you're molested by a woman, you go to a man. If you're molested by a man, you go to a woman. You do the opposite. And then some people think you go to the one you was molested by. So it's like
because
so many
people
double sides to all of it.
because
It's
people
crazy.
want an excuse to just say that that's the whole thing why I made this relevant to pronouns. People want a reason and just saying, hey, this is the way this person is, they want a reason to explain why you're that
Wow.
way instead of just understand your the chemical makeup in your brain makes you
Mhm.
that way. That's why, and this is not me, of course, excusing pedophiles. That's why I feel bad for pedophiles. People go, how can you feel bad for pedophiles? Because their brains are wired that way.
Mhm.
And that's sad. And that's disgusting. We had a pedophile come and talk to our school. He was 60 something years old. He identifies as a pedophile. I'm not saying that to be funny. He's never touched a kid. He goes around the country talking to and trying to help pedophiles. He doesn't indulge, but he knows that's where
The
how
tendency.
his brain was. And they asked him, "Well, why haven't you?" He said, "My morals always outweigh me doing it, so I'll
Mhm.
never do it. But I keep my distance. I don't like being around kids." And so that's when I had understood. Just like my brain is wired to like what I like, their brains are wired that way, and that's why I said I feel bad for them, not because of what they do, and I feel more bad for them than the children. It's because their damn brains are wired that way, and it's fucked up.
You can't help what you like.
It's fucked up.
That too,
That's
but
why
then
when
I
you
also
people
feel like if you think about all the things that's happened when it comes to trauma that we hear,
mhm,
when people are kidnapped for over 20 years and then they protect the person that kidnapped them because they
Stockholm
have.
syndrome.
Mhm.
Exactly. And then they go off to do some of the same things. Well, why did you help him get more kids or get more? They weren't wired like that at the beginning, you know. It's just something that was created. So I think that's a reason why people feel like Why are you this way? Somebody made you this way.
But those are more behaviors than sexual attractions,
True.
than hormonal attractions. Those are behaviors. They say if you grew up and your dad was beating the crap out of your mom, there's one or two things that'll happen. Either you'll have this over fondness for women, or you'll become the
An
same thing
abuser.
your dad is. So, but that's still not an attraction thing,
Right. But
And
I'm
there
thinking
have
that's
been
why they
many.
feel like that could be something because it's not behavior. They're not thinking it's a behavior. It's something in your mind because somebody made you that way. Something that you were in that environment that created this part of you. So they
Well,
feel like it's the
yeah,
same thing, even though
because
it's
it's the
not.
human condition. We have to create an answer for something we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
let me just ask. I know, for example, one of my very dear friends, and I mean very dear friends, is gay. I mean, and he's flaming. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're like, man, I wish you could teach straight men how to treat women in the
Okay.
way
Did she say? Did she
and
say
it's
flaming?
She said flaming.
flaming. Okay, I mean, he's
Tony
just.
rose up.
Did she say flaming?
Yeah.
I'm trying to describe a man that is very much. I mean, when you see him, I'm like, bro, it's too bad I can't take you home. He's like, no, but I love you. But I always say, look, can you teach some of the men how to act like men in terms of the way you compliment all of us, et cetera, but yet who he wants at home is very much a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know why that is though?
No,
No,
that's what she wants to know. That's why she.
Okay, so why? So you're basically asking like, why is it that you will have a gay man, obviously gay man, that
right,
would compliment you and treat you better than someone that is
Straight man.
heterosexual,
right,
right? And the reason why that is because that's a simple answer. We don't want to date you, so of course
right,
we're gonna make you feel good.
right. But
That's
but
backwards
No,
as hell.
what
Larry.
I'm saying is that you know, how to
But
do that. So my
most men
question,
are afraid of rejection, so
oh, is that what
I
it
they're not
is?
gonna push themselves out there like that.
before. Okay, not to get into a long story, I realized I didn't just like women at 26. Before that, I thought that was the only thing. So I was always dating women. But the funny thing is, people realize it before you do. Because women used to tell me, "Are you gay?" I'm like, "No." Why are you asking me that? Because you treat me so well. And I'm like, "What? You're my girlfriend. Like, what do you mean? Why do I always found that sad. Like, what do you mean? Why do you treat me so well? Oh, I didn't
Right,
realize I was supposed to cheat on you. My bad.
right,
Mm,
right.
mm,
I didn't know that, but
mm.
you know,
Something she was used to.
so there are times, for example, I might be laughing and we're chuckling, and I'm like, girl, and he'll be like, yes, yes. Or other times, if I go,
Lynn's a
Lorraine,
hag.
huh?
He just gave you a
Are
title.
you a
Gave you
fag
a
hag?
title. Gave
Yeah,
you a
what?
title.
Lynn's a hag.
She's a hag. That is so cute. We
They
love
gave you a
that.
What?
title.
Did I miss something? What does that
Okay,
mean?
that's another title.
That's
They
a
usually
title.
they call them fag hags. They're the women who love to have gay men around them and
Mhm.
they have them parading around the living room and they go out with them all the time.
And
It's
they be
always a
taking
group of gay
notes.
guys and that one woman who's with them, strutting behind them at the club, at the bar. And she's usually not gay. She's usually not lesbian. She's
Right.
always
Oh,
heterosexual most
well,
of the
no,
time.
here's the hypocritical thing. Sometimes it's a woman who would be upset if her own son was gay, and you ask her,
And that's the
but your
thing.
best
Yeah,
friend Tony's gay. That's different. He's my hairdresser.
right.
Interesting.
Wow.
Right.
See,
They
I
don't
don't
want their
like
son to
all
be gay.
that.
Oh no. Don't look at my son. Don't talk to my son. Oh no. Not my son.
But
Not
let
my
me
I
say
feel
brother.
like, wait, hold on, time out. I feel like Larry's at the black barber shop. he's just trying to stay out of trouble. He's just listening.
I'm trying my best not to offend anybody, so
He's
you know,
trying to figure out where to jump in.
yeah,
Larry, don't listen,
yeah,
Larry. You
yes.
speak how you want to speak. We've been through this before. We'll defend you when you want to, and then I'll yell at you when I need to. You just
Well,
be you.
and I know you will. I'm just trying not to.
I'm not easily offended. You don't have to worry about me.
I'm just
let me ask this question
He's
once
talking
Larry
about the people
finishes.
out there in YouTube land.
Oh yeah, them people.
Yes. Yes.
Them people. Wait, is it they people or them
They
people?
people, them, their
Okay.
people.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get to the plural pronouns again.
I
Why is
feel
I
it?
like
get confused.
if somebody calls me they, I need to get on a scale and start exercising and eating the salad.
What if you called it?
Well, see, now you're just
I
gonna get
think that's
punched in the face.
disrespectful.
Well, who the hell's coming up with all these variations? Huh?
But we
That's
have,
Because
see, Larry.
I
See,
explained that already. They're
yeah,
not
see,
coming
Larry.
up with
I'm
it.
wondering the
They've been
same question.
around.
because
It's just now popularized.
I have been in places where they're like, I don't know what they are. I'm just gonna say it. I'm like, don't you do that?
No,
But some people feel
don't.
the need to call people it when they don't know what
Well,
to
you know
identify.
what? I won't be mad. You know why? And don't get mad at me, white America. I'm a black man that grew up in the South. I've been called worse.
that's true.
Really? Well, I
That's
grew up in
true.
the north, and I haven't been called much
Yeah,
worse.
I've been
Mhm.
called
I
That's
will do
worse.
true.
that.
You don't go to Boston then. Uh,
Oh Lord, been there, done that. Right.
Well, being a white man in the South, I've been called worse than it too.
yeah,
So
there you go.
It's called the South for a reason.
it is
Right.
called the South. Yeah.
Okay, now Tila.
Hey, well, don't let the North get too proud now. There's some
No,
places in
no,
the North
because we
that,
go. Yeah,
woof,
you're right
But
Okay,
about
you,
that.
Yeah, there
woo.
are some
South
places
just
in the northeast that are
transplanted to the
terrible.
north, so they
see,
still got that some of that mentality. So
but
Yes.
see, some of us down south are here because we want to be. So,
No, because of the temperature.
well, yes.
Nobody wakes up and says, "I want to move to Alabama."
Mm,
If they do that, they need to go see a psychiatrist.
mm.
Well, no,
well, I
Mississippi.
woke up and said I want to go back to
Yeah, who
Georgia.
wakes up and says, "Hey, I'm moving to Oklahoma today.
I'm going
Mississippi.
to
Let's go."
Mississippi. I want to get
Mhm.
to Mississippi.
Nobody.
Pensacola's the way to go.
No.
Right. I'm going to Tulsa for what? If
To
somebody
visit.
says they
To
moving to
visit
Oklahoma, the
family.
first thing you say is for what?
To visit family. That
No,
better be
no,
the
I got
question
one to
answer.
the Dakotas. Why?
Yeah.
North Dakota, not South
Well,
Dakota.
you
North
forget that the
Dakota.
Dakotas even
what's
exist
wrong
for
with
real.
South Dakota?
South Dakota's cool. North Dakota, not so much.
Oh, South Dakota's
Well,
great.
both of them are Dakotas. What's the difference?
Go to South Dakota and you'll realize the big difference.
Think about North Carolina and South Carolina.
North Carolina, I
Oh
mean
yeah, you're right.
North
You're right.
Dakota. North Dakota is Laurenburg, North Carolina, and South Dakota is Cary. There you go. That's
Carry
the
what?
difference.
North
North
Carolina?
Carolina. Yep.
That's.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure that's an accurate
Yeah, I was kind of
depiction?
like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
Cary
Laurenburg.
and
I've never.
Laurinburg. I don't know.
Isn't
I've only
Laurenburg the
been
one
through the
below?
Dakotas.
Isn't
I don't
Laurenburg
know.
below Fayetteville?
I mean, it
But
depends on
comparing
what you
it,
mean by below.
It's underneath. There's
You,
nothing
you mean
there.
you mean geographically or
There's
like
nothing.
yeah,
There's nothing
geographically.
there.
or is like education level?
No, there's nothing there.
Oh, oh,
Mm. Well, let me ask a question that I know a lot of people can't seem to wrap their brain around. So definitely help them out. Is drag queens, because all drag queens are
There
not
we,
gay.
yeah, there we.
no, they're not.
But people have this misconception. Well, if he wants to dress like a woman, so something's wrong. So help them out there in the world about drag queens. All drag queens are not gay people just because they
Are
like
you
to
asking me,
dress up.
Tony, or Larry?
Anybody who wants to answer, and
I'll
all of you can
answer.
answer.
So what I'll say is, if the person that you are screwing is not dressing up, then you shouldn't worry about it. Like I feel like people worry too much about things that don't affect them. If you are not dealing with that person directly, then you shouldn't care what they're doing.
That's true.
Because whatever that person is attracted to, whoever they're with, they like that. So let them like that, and you like what you like.
Right. But you know, we live in a world, everybody in your business and want to know what they don't need to know just
And,
because.
and most of the time, sexuality is fluid. Like you would think that because a man does drag, you think that he would be gay, but he probably could be the most heterosexual person in the world,
A lot of them
or
are.
he's just a big old whore and will screw a snake if you
Well,
hold it still.
it's just like
So
straight. It's just like straight
you
guys who
know,
strip at a gay club because they know they can make more money.
right.
Yeah,
Right. Some of it's
And there are
business.
straight guys who do gay porn just because they feel like
absolutely.
Well,
it makes
see,
more
that's
money.
that's where you lose me.
Well,
What
that's a little
they
different.
do it though
But that's
because
where
it
you
makes
lose me.
gay porn makes more money.
That's where you lose me though. It's one thing to be flaunting and flirting and doing all that, but once you actually are doing the act, I don't care what thing you try to tell yourself in your head
You
that you're
there.
still heterosexual. You're
Well, that's
not.
why you have the
But we
ones that say,
talk,
"Well,
but
I'm only a top Nobody goes inside
no,
of me.
most
They feel like
men
they're
will
not gay.
screw just about anything, really, if you want
I
to be honest.
know most guys will
Say
screw
that
anything with a
again, Tony.
most guys will screw
Uh-huh.
anything that's moving. They just don't admit it. Most people, that's why you always see these stories of you see this guy who's either on YouTube or on TV, and he's always if someone's railing so much against homosexuality, and then you come to find out was caught having an affair with 4 men. It's like
Yeah.
it
That's
always
why
happens.
BL was a big thing. Down low
Huh?
was a big thing. It's like, but I'm not gay because I'm the top person. They don't go in me. I go in them. I do them. I'm like, well, what?
No, no,
What
no, no.
What
does that?
difference does it
If you,
make?
If a
if you,
man with cock and balls is touching you and you enjoyed it, you are homosexual or bisexual.
there you go.
There you
There
go.
you go. You
It,
can
it,
try to put it in your mind all you want, Larry. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say that if you're able to do just again, we'll say gay porn, where something where you actually have to perform,
You like
okay?
it.
Mm.
That's right. That's right. You're
Yeah,
not going to get
some of that
that
you
pleasure
can't
if
fake.
you're not there.
You can't fake that. You enjoy it.
Right, you
I
can't
don't
fake
want to
that.
hear
Or they
somebody
just
tell
like a hole. There's like a wet hole or something. I don't
Like,
know.
like my grandma said, some men will screw a snake if you hold it still.
Exactly. Like some people just need something to be warm or something. They don't
Something, yeah,
care.
they'll
They
screw
don't
no,
care.
anything.
You do have
if,
them.
if you're trying to tell yourself and everybody else that you're a breeder, but you're doing gay porn,
Right.
that's a
Right.
contradiction of
Right.
terms. Hey,
I used to love the one that said, "Well, I only did it because when I went to jail, but you ain't in jail no more."
And if you did it in
Oh, you
jail,
know, I'm glad you said that.
if
What
you
about
did it
those
in
men
jail
that are
still.
always going to jail? They can't stay. They can't stay free long. They always going back in jail for years. It's like, are you going there to see somebody?
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
because they're still trying to stay in the
hey,
closet. They
there,
don't want people on the outside to
there
know what's
you go.
going on.
You may have got hooked up with a lifer. Who knows?
Because my thing is, if you are a heterosexual man, why would you want to be locked up somewhere where coochie is not running free?
All of
I don't
this
understand.
boils down to kind of what we're talking about today and all other types of things. If people would get to the point where they would just let people be who they are, then we wouldn't have to worry about all this. But people have to hide and do things because they're going to be judged or talked to, and that's just the way we've always been. Hell, sent a couple decades ago, not too long ago, what 100 and something years ago, if a female had an STD, she was locked up in a loony bin.
Right.
Hmm.
But your husband could have 17 of them. Nothing happened to him. We just
Right,
always
right.
we just always have these things. If everybody was just allowed to be who the hell they wanted to, then we could get rid of all of the
All of it.
nonsense.
Right.
Mind your damn business.
That.
Right.
So
And stop bothering you.
before we get off of here today, how about one of you explain the male or masculine terms for pronouns that are acceptable, I guess, or the ones that should be used, and the feminine ones? Is there a difference between the masculine and feminine ones? Which ones are they? Which ones should we use?
Masculine ones are BBC. Um, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, because actually I know
I'm
what that
glad
is.
nobody. I'm glad they didn't know what that was.
Larry, what did you say, Larry?
I said I do know what that is.
I'm like, as if
Oh, Larry knows what that is.
Yes, I do. Yeah. See, most of the time I got to ask you guys to explain things to me.
You didn't have to do it this time. That's right.
Yeah.
So explain to the people out there what are the
And I know what
masculine
you're thinking, Kelly.
terms
It's not what I
for
meant.
pronouns and what are the feminine terms for pronouns.
It's British Broadcasting Channel, you sickos.
I was going to say, what are we talking about? BBC Cream?
There's no such thing as
There's no
busy.
such thing. I hope not. Oh my God, no.
Are you talking about makeup like
Wait,
BB
where can I get this cream at?
BB cream is the maker of
Please
no
tell
cream.
me.
No.
Please tell me where they sell this cream, Lynn.
Yeah, you guys are fixing to embarrass me. So
Oh my word.
What, you gonna
yeah.
whip it out?
All right. Who's gonna give us the feminine pronouns that
her,
are acceptable or should be used or the community wants you to use? What are they?
her, or she.
She and her, right? Did I miss something?
Okay. And then the masculine ones are
He or him.
so
Depends on how
they,
you.
them, they and them. They could
What
be
about
masculine or
his?
feminine, right?
His and
know
His
his.
what they
and
are.
her.
When do you use the they and the them? That's what I
Wait,
want to
do
understand.
they sell her and her towels?
Yes. You
Yes.
Okay.
just buy two sets. I mean,
Wait,
Just
now
buy
when you
two
say
hard
do they
towels and
sell,
call
are
it
you
a
meaning
day.
a plural people or a person? So what
Tony
do you,
got it. Thank you, Tony. Tony
yes,
got
you
it.
just buy a her and hang it
No,
up.
no, no. Tequila,
Mhm.
Tila. Tony got it. I said, do
do
they?
they
Do
sell her and
they
her?
do
So
they
so
sell?
who's the they?
Who's the
Who's the
they?
day?
I feel
Oh,
like
here's
Doctor.
a,
I feel like if this would have came out during Dr. Seuss's time, we'd have a much better
Mm.
understanding of
we
it.
have a book
Blue
that
fish, red fish,
clarifies it
yellow fish.
for us.
Because he would have given us something for us to dissect it
Yeah,
and
He
figure it
fish,
out.
she fish, they
because people are
fish,
really
no
confused about
fish.
these
They
pronouns.
fish,
Like
I fish. His fish, her fish.
one
Hey,
fish, two fish, three
Dr.
fish, four
Seuss is
fish.
another point of why we need to get titles right. You know, his name isn't even pronounced Dr. Seuss. His name is Dr. Seuss, but his name
Dr.
always gets
Seuss.
pronounced wrong.
Right.
That he just gave up and said,
Like a
Right.
lot of people do with their
yeah,
names these days in
But
entertainment, anyway.
can we please go back? I gotta know who is they and them.
I'm kind of
Google.
looking.
They don't even know.
Hey, let's do this. Somebody Google it right now.
I be thinking it's just a group of them. If it's a group, but it's not.
That's called a gang.
So if you want to be, I feel like if you want to be called these plural pronouns, I feel like there may be some like deep rooted schizophrenia in there somewhere, and you have like
Mm.
multiple people living in your head, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why you don't know which personality
Block
we calling out.
personality.
So we just gonna
Ah,
talk to all of them. I
Somebody,
got
Mm-hmm.
about three people living back here, and I just want to make sure you talk to all of them. So just
some
call me they.
somebody
right,
took
right.
somebody took Psych 101.
We
Right.
got a few people here today. Right.
Right.
Right, it's a few people in here today. They in
We
here.
are all present
Y'all quiet
today.
down there. Shh, quiet
They're
Yeah.
down.
all going to come out some point in
Right,
time.
right.
Well, I think this was a very interesting conversation that I hope a lot of people are learning from, but some of us are still confused because that they and them, those plural ones, are still hard concept to swallow because we don't understand. But I guess
So
that could be
them is and
masculine
they
and
is.
feminine. Them, they is still masculine and feminine compared to his, hers, he, she. We know exactly what they are,
I
right?
know what to call them when them lights be off.
Just a second here.
Everybody got a name. You
They
use
don't
what it
care
is
when the
for you.
lights go off.
Hey,
Okay.
just a second.
Well,
Now,
let's go to our
Wait,
final
wait,
piece of
Larry,
information.
Larry, Larry Googled it. Hold on.
I
Uh-oh.
did,
What did
and
he say?
it
Larry
says
Googled it.
the fundamental difference between they and them in grammatical terms is that they is a subject pronoun and them is an object pronoun. They is used to refer to the subject of a clause.
You
Now, I
talking
don't,
about elementary school terms. We
No,
talking
no,
about
Elementary,
no.
subject.
He's
wow.
making sense because,
Yeah,
like,
it does. So it
not
still
all
goes
would be
into the
them.
elementary terms when you use subject and
I,
objective. It's
That
still
is
I,
going
the
to
same.
confuse the children.
Oh
I
my god.
see. We need to leave the
Okay,
kids alone.
I found one that I've Googled this that says the singular they, which
Mm-hmm.
is what we're
One
talking
person.
about. Singular they, along with its inflected or derivative forms, them, their, theirs, and themselves, is a gender neutral third person pronoun. It typically occurs when an unspecified antecedent in sentences, such as somebody left their umbrella in the office. Could you please let them know where they can get it?
Again, that goes back to the regular
That
elementary
goes
terms.
back
You
to
talking about
what we
them.
know. We're
Right.
still right.
It's still not helping.
It feels
We're not
weird to
It's
helping.
still
look at
it
Right,
one
still is
person and
elementary terms.
say, "Hey, they, how are you?"
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
would
right.
still say, boy, if you don't get your damn umbrella out my office.
That part.
So
So
what do you
That
say?
part, right.
They come get your umbrella out of the office.
yeah.
yet somebody that took a simple thing and tried to make it difficult, and it caught on.
Right.
That's it.
But
Maybe they don't know what they are identifying
it's
as of yet.
been
Now, see,
around for
if
a
if
very
the,
Okay.
long
That
if
time.
the
and I
school,
just read that, Tila, that it
Hmm.
kind of relates to when a
They
person
don't know
is
where to
right.
identify as of yet.
Right.
So they
It's
this
the
is they
it's the
or them.
popularization of these pronouns, but these pronouns have been around for a long time.
I say pick one.
and if they still taught the right stuff in school, people would know what the difference between they and them is.
Well, we do
Well,
in those
they
terms.
do know, but
We
this is
do
not
know.
the terms
Obviously
that
not.
they're using it.
It's being used for everything else.
Yeah.
But
So
anyhow,
on that note, let's wrap it up. It's been
Listen,
a great discussion. Let's go to
Wrap it
our
up.
final
You talking about
thoughts.
sex again?
You
Oh,
said sex again. What?
you said wrap it up. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
that's like saying, are you done
Please do
yet?
that. Everybody that's going out this weekend, wrap it up. Yeah, that definitely want to do that too. So let's get our final thoughts on our topic of pronouns. Larry, let's start with you. What's your final thought?
My final thought is stay the hell away from them. You don't need all of that crap. And if you're going to get into it, stay away from the kids. Let them find out for themselves or through their parents.
Yeah,
But
those idiots.
yeah, some of those are idiots. Yes, yes, they are. Yes, they
Some
are.
of their
But
parents
you
confused.
don't need all this crap. And again, I think by putting labels on everybody, you keep encouraging this segregation type stuff. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a big problem in this country right now, and it has been for decades or back further. But it needs to stop, and it won't unless uh, I want to say groups of people that are part of this need to stop.
He ain't
Now,
going nowhere.
I don't care whether you're gay, straight, white, black, whatever. I don't really care. It makes no difference. Stop it.
Make it easy.
Right.
Make it easy. We can get on with our lives, and you won't have this pissed offness going around all over the place. If you did,
Right.
keep it simple.
Love it.
Keep it
Love it.
simple, stupid.
And that's right. And you do not need to
So
label
many,
everybody
Give me a kiss. No.
for a different purpose.
so many acronyms that can go with that kiss could be
Okay,
for.
I'm done.
All right, Lynn. What about your final perspective?
My final perspective is let's just all be open to one another, accept one another, and don't get all have your panties or drawers in a bunch, depending upon whether I use the right pronoun or the wrong pronoun based on how you self identify. I'm not trying to make any judgment. I want to understand. And that's the point, is as long as we all try to understand that each one is trying to understand themselves, then I think we're good. And let's just love on one another as opposed to criticize one another for people being aware of who they want to be and how they want to identify.
Awesome. All right, Tony. What's your final perspective?
Um, respect people's wishes and mind your damn business.
There you
Boom.
go.
Drop the
Keep
mic.
it simple, huh?
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. All right, Keone. What's your final perspective?
My final perspective, the same thing I say almost about every topic. You got one or two choices in life: evolve with the times or stay stuck in the past. It ain't going nowhere. That's why I like young people. It ain't going nowhere. No one's ever gonna. I beat a dead horse. No one's gonna do what we've been doing. It's never gonna happen. It's never been that way. So we can do like the people who've done before us, who became um, progressive and evolve with it, or we can be pissed off about something that's not really a big deal to be pissed off about. This is when you get pissed off about stuff like this, you're being distracted from the real things you should be more
Right,
pissed off about. This is
right,
nothing. This is
right.
something that's been around forever and it's now popularized. Just like when everybody was getting upset about when being transgender became popularized. It's something that's been around for centuries and decades, but we get upset when our normal way of thinking is interrupted by some new thing and everybody gets all flustered. Stop getting flustered. Just, it's not a big deal.
I
Hmm.
agree.
Not a big deal. But don't call me they because I'm not, I'm weight conscious. So,
He said, "You saying I look like too many people that, and it's just one
It's
body."
like
Okay, I
I'm
get it.
not trying to
It's
take
too
on
many
three
people. It is
people
one
here.
body. Okay. So my final perspective is, education is wonderful. Knowledge is key. So to get more information is just to talk to one another and just be open about who you are
Mm-hmm.
and what it is that you want to identify as. Don't get upset when somebody is just intrigued or inquisitive because they don't know. Yes, they're stupid questions, but sometimes people are just really trying to clarify things. So don't get upset, because everybody doesn't understand. When there are a lot of people that are trying to, and sometimes people think, oh, you're trying to come at me. That's not necessarily it. So just be open to the communication, the conversation, and learning about one another, and we'll be okay. But please keep it more simple. Just keep the he's and the she's, the hers, and because I'm like Keone and everybody else, the plural ones are a little confusing, but we're gonna learn as we go. So as we wrap it up, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy your holiday.
Brilliant
We have
swag, 10 o'clock.
brilliant swag, 10 o'clock. Getting that conversation on it. If you need to learn some pickup lines, going over there and hear what they got to tell you. You might use it tonight or this weekend. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, comment, and
Pickup
subscribe,
lines.
and we will see
Honey,
you
what's that
next Friday.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't get no pickup lines from them.
look?
That's not even what the episode, but whatever.